Welcome to Colonize the New World, the board game. This is a gameplay overview where we're going to go over the basic gameplay loop of the very first turn so people can get an idea of how to play it. Because I know it looks a lot more daunting than it actually is. And so we're going to hopefully clear that up for you. So, to start with, you pick the starting position. We are going to start on 2. Well, you can see there's 1 up here, and there's 8 of these. So, now all you have to do is pick one of the 3 spots on 2. Any one of them is acceptable. And so we'll pick that one. Next, you're going to start with $300. You're also going to start with a caravel, a soldier, and 3 colonists. Stack them together like that to signify that they are all on that boat. Now, we're going to go over to the colony or the player sheet. Now, this artwork is a little bit different than you see on the website. You can see the website has a more simplified, streamlined version. Let me know which version you prefer. Anyway, you're going to mark SP2 because that's your starting position. That's relevant for a couple of little interactions, but we'll get into that in another video. And you mark that you're from England, because that's the country you're playing. So now, the turn order is covered, or the phase order is covered on the building reference sheet you can see down here. So if you get confused, you can easily reference it. The first thing is the upkeep phase, and that's broken into 4 steps as you can see. Reset game pieces, that's where the sea monster will move, that'll be another video. And the start token changes, so I'm going to be the start token player. Then we're going to negotiate treaties. We are not next to any other players to negotiate treaties with. Obey the king. This is where you roll to get a king card. Then the next is the Indian raid phase. And this is if you have angered the Indians enough, they will attack you. Since we don't have any Founding Father cards or Liberty Bells, the king is not going to bother us yet. And we haven't even met the Indians yet, so they aren't going to bother us yet. So, the next thing is the movement phase. You can see MP is listed on here, and that's 4. I'll try and make it a bit larger on the final version. Like this one, you can see it's larger. So, the MP is 4. That means 4 movement spots that you can do, or movement points. You can see the big map. You can go anywhere. You can go here, here, all the way down here. It doesn't matter. You can go anywhere. So for this, we're going to go this way. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we want to disembark. That's still part of the movement phase. So we're going to move all of them right there. We've moved everything that we can. So we moved our action phase. This is where we can attack and build colonies. So, we are going to build a colony. Any of these guys can do it, but we want to have a soldier for defense, so he's going to build a colony. And what's going to happen is he's going to change into that. Now you have 2 other colonists. They could either sit there underneath like this, and you could wait to use them again next turn. Or you can just remove them and put them in the colony for the population, which is what we will do. And the same thing with the soldier. He can either stay underneath, guarding it, or we can mark him on the colony sheet and remove him from the board, which is what we're going to do. So on the back side of the building reference sheet, we have a colony sheet. I've already filled it out. We picked Charlestown. You can see there's 1 soldier in there. And the population is 3. You can see I marked coast, 3 crops, 1 gold mine, and 1 mountain. As you can see, it is on a coast. It is on a mountain. It only counts once. There are 6 crops, but the crops are divided by 2 to count. So basically you need 2 crops to count as 1. Then you have a gold mine, and even though it's just a little bit in there, it counts. So your colony is going to get all these adjacent squares or hexagons. There'll be resources for that colony. So when you build certain buildings, that becomes relevant. Or mountains give you +1 to your defense, so that becomes relevant. Now that we've done that, we are going to move to our next phase. The next phase is the independence phase. That is where you fight your king. We are not at that point yet. So we're going to move to our end phase, or end of turn. Let's check our reference sheet again. So end of turn, the first thing is you're going to get building, resources, and trade goods. Now we have 1 colony, as you can see. And for every colony that we have, we get 3 building resources. To do that, we have this resource tracker here. Liberty Bells is green, yellow is building resources, red is your Indian aggression level, so if you've been attacking them, they get more and more mad at you and stronger. So we're going to move this 0 to 3. Now you have 3 building resources. If you had a factory, you can see you would get a trade good every turn, but we don't have one yet. The next thing is Liberty Bells. If we had a city hall, for example, we would get Liberty Bells every turn, but we don't. So we won't get anything yet. The next thing is you construct buildings. This is a handy chart to see what you can construct. And you would just check it off on the back. So if you wanted to build a factory, you would just mark it right there. But the first turn that you build a colony, it has, if you played Magic the Gathering, something like Summoning Sickness, it just can't build anything the first turn. So, the next thing you're going to do is go to the King's Market. This is on the back of the player sheet. As you can see, a handy chart for buying and selling pieces. So, a colonist, for example, you can buy and get them to come join you for $40, or those 2 symbols. One of them is the building resources, and one of them is Liberty Bells. So either $40 or 1 building resource or 1 Liberty Bell. And then you get a colonist. And then you can see it's what it can do, what its abilities are. And same thing for a soldier, it's $200 or 3 Liberty Bells / 3 building resources. Well, then you have a caravel. Look, you can even sell pieces. A caravel, for example, you can sell and you will make $50 times the D8 roll. So if you roll an 8, you will make $400. And same thing, or you can choose to get Liberty Bells or building resources instead. So if you rolled an 8 in that case, you would get 4 building resources or 4 Liberty Bells. Anyway, we are going to buy a soldier and a colonist, spending $300 and getting $60 back. Now, you can put these soldiers and colonists anywhere. So put them on any starting position, 2 or 1, it doesn't matter. Because when your boat comes either to 1 or 2 or even 8, it will pick those units up. because they're basically waiting in Europe, so it doesn't matter which starting position you go to, you'll be able to pick them up. So that's just a visual reminder for you to grab them from Europe whenever you get that way. So now the next thing after that is other players / Indians. So this is where if you have made any treaties with other players, like paying them $100 not to attack you every turn, this is when you pay for it. If you made a treaty with the Indians to pay them $100 every turn, this is when you pay them. And if you can't, then you break the treaty. Then the last part of your turn is the Founding Fathers. So, if you want to draw a Founding Father card, like say this one, own a colony in a mountain territory, you would need to pay for Liberty Bells. But as you can see, green is on 0, so we do not have any Liberty Bells yet. But if we did, we would pay 4 of them, check that off on the box, and then nobody else can get that achievement. And then you will draw a Founding Father card. And if you had the start token, that means you were the one that had priority this turn, so you went first. So you would get to check that achievement off first. So if another player wanted to do the mountain achievement, but since you were first, you could do it before them and potentially screw over the other player. Anyway, this is a brief overview of the gameplay structure. There's a little bit more to it if you have other players. You'll be attacking each other, the treaties. There's the sea monster, which is kind of just a fun mini little side boss. As you can see, because the map has a sea monster, the cloud face. So it's just kind of a fun little add-on. And if you beat him, you can get $5,000 and a Liberty Bell. So, but he is tough. Anyway, this is a brief gameplay overview. I hope it's been helpful, and I hope you can see the game is more simple than it actually appears. And if you like war games and strategy games or city building games, I think you'll find a lot to love here. And after a few turns, you should really start picking it up and getting the hang of it. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.